Welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast. Here is Munir Lazouzi from easymedicaldevice.com, and today it's a special episode. So today I just came back from the conference called La Rentrée du DM, in Besançon, which is not so far from from Basel, from where I am. So we spent 2 days with people speaking in French, so it's great. It was like resourcing, talking mainly about medical devices, regulations, quality, and everything, with a lot of peers, if I can say, with also notified bodies coming, with competent authority like ANSM. So no, it was really a great event. So thanks again for Florent Guyon for inviting me, and maybe also all the other guests, because it was really a great conference. So today what I wanted to do is just to share with you some highlights, because it was interesting, if I can say. I cannot tell you everything what was happening, because 2 days cannot be summarized in few minutes or in small episode. But yeah, what was great is that with some of those people that were speaking, I said, maybe I can invite some of them to really share their experience, and I will show you some of them with us on an episode of the podcast. But yeah, so let's summarize quickly. I want to make it quickly, so I will not tell you all what happened during each presentation, but I want really to make a highlight for each people that were speaking, what was really interesting, and then also talking about some panel discussion, because they were really great. So let's start so that we are not making it too long. So the first presentation was done in the first day, so day number 1, by Cécile Vauglade from SNITEM. So it's the French organization for medical device manufacturers. So mainly the first presentation was just to update us of everything that happened within the last year, recently the eIFU for professionals, the new expert panels for pediatric and orphan disease, the master UDI that I informed you within the last update, for also including spectacle frames and ready-to-wear glasses. We talked also about structured dialogue, and we'll come back to that a bit later with notified bodies. There was also a discussion about centralization, with this discussion, should we move now to a centralized organization like EMA? And they were mentioning EMA, knowing that maybe it's not EMA, but it's more like about the discussion, what will be the future. So there are discussion open on that. How it will go, we don't know. During some other presentation, it was the same. It was also a discussion saying it's open, but we don't know what will be the outcome for that. Also about single use, you know that in the EU MDR there is a chapter saying that competent authorities can decide if the single-use device can be reused. So it's strange to reuse single-use, but it's what it's authorized. So French decided to say no, they will not accept that. But she said that they will open maybe like a pilot for verifying this kind of thing. But it's mainly the different things. Each country decides. So if I remember, Germany accepted, but French then said no. So when you listen to all this first presentation, you say, it was really a heavy regulatory agenda for medical device manufacturers. And frankly, when you hear some other presentation, you feel the pain, if I can say. You feel really the pain of those manufacturers that were passing through some difficult situations, having to make some choices, etc. So it was really a great, also what I liked really is not the learning from the regulation or whatever, because it's not something that's really interesting. Mainly it's about the feedback, receiving some feedback from manufacturers to understand their pain. Also as a consultant from my side, because I also give my feedback to notified bodies during the thing. It was not nice sometimes. So yeah, mainly. But the thing here is about receiving feedback and understanding the pain from those medical device manufacturers. Okay, so yeah, it was great. So thanks again for Cécile Vauglade from making us this nice presentation. Next one is Pierre-Yves Calignon from Institut Stroman. So it's a neighbor. He's from Basel also. So Institut Stroman is a dental company. So he talked to us about CE MDR, so MDR certification. And if you remember, or you don't, because it was a long time ago, we had Choukoufé, who was working from at Stroman at that time. I think she moved now from Stroman, and she was coming to explain the first MDR certification of Stroman. It was a long time ago, so it was new. I mean, it was we had not a lot of companies that were certified under MDR at that time. So yeah, it was really a great episode also. So now Pierre-Yves came to explain to us the recertification, and also sharing that the number of days for recertification increased, the cost also increased, and at Stroman they had also 2 notified bodies for 2 groups. So it's also helping also, I think to because historically they had 2 notified bodies, so the point is that they don't want to change. But what I heard is that some of those companies that have multiple notified bodies, sometimes they keep them because it's strategic. If one falls, we have still the others, if I can say. And because at that time we didn't know if all notified bodies will transition to EU MDR. But some of them told me, yeah, we are keeping them until we are certified, and then we'll move to 1 notified body only, because it's sometimes too difficult to manage contradictions. One notified body says something and the other says something else, so it's a bit of difficulty. Next is a great presentation made by me. So I talked about UDI-DI, SwissDI-Med, and the UK database, so PARDS and DORS. So mainly I explained the differences between the 3 advantages, disadvantages. I made also some points who won at the end. So Swiss won at the end, SwissDI-Med, because SwissDI-Med is simple, really simple and easy to use, and I like it. But mainly sharing really the difficulty. Also sharing that it's not just feeling UDI-Med is important, it's also having a procedures for your quality management system. I learned that because mainly, I knew that. It's just that we had an audit also at our Belgium authority by the Belgium authority mainly for our authorized representative activity, and there was some comments about UDI-Med procedures, etc. So it was where we learned, if I can say this. So yeah, but I hope people understood the difference with UDI-Med, SwissDI-Med, and DORS part, and more, because UDI-Med has everything in one, SwissDI-Med has everything in one, but how to say, the UK, they have PARD, which is a public database. They have DORS, which is the database that we are using to fill the data, and they have more for the vigilance reporting. So yeah, it's decentralized. Then we had panel discussion, and there was some great panel discussion. So the first one was with notified bodies. It was a great one. I like panel discussion because I like when it's not scripted. Here it was not scripted, so it was like questions coming that were interesting. There were some questions where even notified bodies were not agreeing somehow, and it was great. So we had discussion, question about structured dialogue, how it's working with each notified body. Should we have a structured dialogue or not? How we will be working on that, because it's written on the MDCG guidance, it's written on things, but there was some different practices, some that are offering structured dialogue for free, before and after, also even before you appoint them. So it's mainly some of the discussions, and the point of discussion that was really more well, there was a lot of discussion, was the review per module. So we have some notified bodies that says and this one, the ones I really know, is the ones that are saying send us all the technical file and then we'll review it. And we have apparently some other notified bodies that says send us some modules and we'll review module per module. And the discussion was mainly yes, but if there was some module that were not good, then we had to restart from zero, etc. So there was some discussion. Is it worse to do the module per module, means that send us what you have ready and then we can review it and give you our feedback, or should we do separately? So yeah, it was interesting discussion because we had a real example from somebody in the room explaining what they have done with, if I remember, it was TÜV Sud Italia, and we had some other notified bodies say no, it's not good what you are doing, etc. So it was but it was interesting because we had also discussion about harmonization between notified bodies. I asked the question about technical file, and yes, there is this position paper from Team NB where all notified bodies agreed for the technical documentation structure, but not all notified bodies are part of Team NB. So then what about the others? It's mainly some of the discussion also that we had. But yeah, in general, they are really having alignments. There was also some discussion about artificial intelligence. Will they use artificial intelligence to review technical files, etc.? They are not closing the door. They are working also on that. And if I remember, it was Thomas Lomat. If you remember Thomas Lomat from AFNOR, that was on our podcast. So mainly was also answering that there is a Horizon funding from Europe for this kind of group. So we had on the panel, we had Marine Debo from Kiwa, we had Lionel Dreux from GMED, we had Sylvie Falaise from TÜV Rheinland, we had Lena Gourmelon from BSI, we had Thomas Lomach from AFNOR certification, we have Daniele Nistri from TÜV Sud Italia, and we had Virginie Silore from SGS. So yeah, it was really great. And as I say, I like how it's not scripted, because when it's scripted, like we know what will be the answer. But here it was more like surprising questions, which was really great. Next, we had ANSM, so the authority, French authority, so French competent authority, with Corinne Maillard, where we talked mainly about discontinuation. So it was also a good discussion because, yeah, it was like a discussion where Corinne mentioned that ANSM already started to work on this discontinuation project, if I can say, with ANSM before even the Article 10A or 10 bis was in place. So yeah, it was also a frustration, like we have worked all that, and at the end, like Europe sent us this article, and now we have to scrap all what we have done. I mean, not all, but I mean, it was that. But they were able to collect some data from this and showing us how it's working. And something just that she highlighted at the beginning, she said we have mainly to use some to focus again to patience and to anticipation. So mainly this is also that for this kind of topic. So it was, she repeated that words, patience, anticipation. So yeah, what we discovered is that the main reason for reporting, because it's a reporting, it was mainly about stop of marketing and about because company wants to stop the products mainly, and secondly it was difficulty to be supplied. And there was a question on the rooms asking, but does the competent authority has the power to ask a manufacturer to remanufacture a product even if they want to stop it? And she said no, they have no power to do that. She can incentivize, if I can say, or try to push them or tell them or advise them, but they have no power for doing that. So mainly what was also the message that she provided was like, you should consider your competent authority as member of a team. So it's not like they have to be separate and you have to not talk with them. You have really to talk with them and work with them to move forward. And yeah, when we had this review with this presentation, it's great because you, if I can say, I don't know if I can say that, but you are humanizing the competent authority, because for us, competent authorities are like on the top. They are looking from at us like from the top and saying do this, do that, etc. But no, here it was more like there is dialogue, there is discussion, and I really like that. So thank you, Corinne, for that. Then we had Antonin Agaton from Antonin Agaton. We had two people. So Antonin Agaton from an hospital in Paris, and Robert Heidsieck, I hope I say it correctly, Heidsieck, from GE Healthcare. So it was a co-presentation about eco-conception. So mainly it was the synergy between two different worlds, like hospitals and manufacturers, that have to work together related to waste, also electricity waste. And also there was some funny part where they talked about how they analyze all this in the hospital, how they work on that. For example, they said they had to put some podometers, so to measure the steps with the nurses, and they had to convince the nurses that this is not for tracking them in terms of monitoring if they work correctly or not. No, it's just to see how many steps they are doing. Also, there is this spaghetti map that they showed. This is something that we are working on in production, but here they discovered that in the hospital. Like you see where you have the observer that is in the room and sees where the nurse is going here, they go there. So they do the spaghetti map for each people, and then you see the spaghetti map directly. which helps to see if there is some waste also in terms of movements, etc. So it was great. So yeah, the presentation was great in terms of showing that the collaboration between two different worlds can really create some great concept also for the manufacturer to really think again about how to manufacture and develop their products. Then we had a great panel discussion. It was funny because we had a panel discussion about real world data. We had Cécile Arduis from Perigo. We had Sylvie Lebeau from Crystal Lens Industry. We had Divya Patak from, I didn't put the name. From Dental Monitoring. So mainly the stories were great because it was how to find data when you have no data. The first one from Perigo, she talked about, the Perigo is they are making a lot of products. Apparently, it's a big group making a lot of products, and they make one product which is a plaster for blister mainly for when you are walking and you have some blister on the feet. So they do some plasters called Compide. I don't know if you know the brand. We know it in France, but maybe they have a different name in other parts of the world. So and how to do a clinical investigation, because with MDR you had to show that clinically it's working. But also they have done that because for marketing they can try to find some additional claims for their products. And she explained to us that it's difficult to make a clinical investigation on or PMCF data, collect PMCF data on clinical data for plasters like that. So they had some clever thing where they thought about how can I collect those data, and what they have done is that they went on the weekend to some events like trails where people are walking or running for hours, if I can say, and then they are waiting them at the end of the trail, at the final steps. And then they ask them, can we make a clinical investigation with you? You have to wear those plasters for 7 days. You have to answer something, etc. Some questionnaires. And it was really funny because yes, they collected real data coming from that, but they had to ask still the authorization to do this also. So it's not like because there was some e-consent also. There's a lot of things. But it was really funny. The story was funny, so it's why I'm saying that. Then we have Sylvie Lebeau from Crystal Lens Industry. They are doing intraocular lenses. And they had also some difficulty because they wanted to do a prospective study, but then it was not possible. And then they decided to do a retrospective study. So it means that they had to go back to files of patients previously which had the surgery, then to collect data. And they had to align the data that we want to collect with the ECRF, etc. So it was a new strategy, another strategy or creative strategy to then collect data, which was really interesting. And the last one, Divya Patak, mainly talked about how to collect data from databases that are existing. Like the database she was talking about was in France, which is called SNDS, where you can collect those data. They are available. But she made a warning, said the data are available, but to collect them, it will be difficult if you are not really understanding all this database and how it's working. So you'll have maybe to pay people or to really access the data or to collect the data, and you have also to ask authorization to the healthcare professional that collected those data to say yes, can we collect those data for this study, etc. Because mainly healthcare professionals, they are filling the database with all the patients that they have, and then you can collect those data. The problem that they said you don't know which product was used for that, but yeah, as I said, you have to be creative and work on that. So it was really a great one. And the last presentation for this day one, was with Laurent Castillo, which is a European deputy in France, which was sharing with us the updates. I mean, we had already some updates before about the EU MDR and the EMA, for example, the centralization, etc. But yeah, as he mentioned at the beginning, because people say, oh, maybe he'll come to tell us all the secrets that he hear at the European Commission. But no, there was no secret. But it was really a funny also presentation. I like when people are coming, and it was really humoristic also. So it was really great. So thanks, Laurent, for your presentation on that. Okay, I hope you are ready. You have still day 2 now. So we had day 2, but I have done not all the presentation on day 2 because I had to go before. We had the first one with Dienabou Kadima, which is from Effort, a consulting firm, which they talked about the comparison between US and European market, because we had also this question, is it better to go to US or Europe? We had also some panel discussion about that. So she shared the difference between the regulation Europe, US, notified bodies, agency also difference, the Trump impact. So mainly because we had a discussion about mainly the taxes. You tax, you can maybe have a double tax if you are getting some components from US to Europe and then goes back to US, then you are taxed the first time and the second time, etc. So it was the good discussion. And then we had the panel discussion just after that about the feedback US and Europe, and we had Fabien Merkel from Taurus Endoscopy, we had Elodie Bouillet from Essential Robotics, we had Konstantinos Stergiopoulos from Rayon Medical, and we had Vicky Gurtner from Lymphatica MedTech. So to summarize, we discussed about the costs for US and Europe, and here maybe people will say, oh, maybe US is better or Europe is better. No, here it's why it was great also to share that it depends on your products, it depends on your company, because for example, small businesses, they can have better fees if you are going to US. For example, for which company it was Essential Robotics. They said, oh, as they are considered small businesses, they have less fees than if you are going to Europe. But you had other companies that said, oh, the fees are higher for us because we had to go to do some clinical studies with a lot of patients, because they asked us to do that, etc. The FDA asked us to do that. So yeah, then there was this cost discussion, which was not like one is better than the other. It depends on your company mainly. We had also a good discussion. I knew that because I had also tried it, but it was not successful with my client. The Breakthrough Device Program, which is the program in the US for innovative products. So and they shared really a good advice. I mean, if you are part of this Breakthrough Device Program, you have really a panel of tools that opens to you. I mean, you can have access to a panel of tools. You have access to the FDA with some teams that can answer in sprint. So in like 45 days, you have the answers for it. Mainly, they share really the great benefits of doing that. And most of the speakers were talking about that. But yeah, I mean, this was really a great discussion. The answer at the end was there is no one better than the other. It was really a discussion about it's better for us to do this first because of that. There was also a question about market. There is maybe bigger market in the US than Europe, so there is some of them that didn't want to Europe first. They went first to US, and maybe they are thinking of coming back to Europe now. But yeah, there was no answer like, yeah, it's better to go to US or Europe. Next presentation was with Corinne Delorme from Nexialist, consulting firm. And here she talked about ISO 13485 and MDSAP, which one is better for accessing multiple markets. Because you know that if you are mainly having some of those certification, you can be recognized in some countries. So here mainly she talked about reliance again with IMDRF, discussion about reliance, which standard they are recognizing. There was also some questions during this discussion, and I have made some videos. So if you want to go to my account on LinkedIn, you will see the video where I'm sharing some videos and some also pictures of that, where she was asking to the audience the question, who wants ISO 13485 to be maintained? And because there was this question about we are at 5 years of the ISO 13485, if I can say, to be renewed, or to decide if we want to renew or not, or to update or not. And most of the room says no. And she bet, and yeah, it was something I forgot to mention here, but she bet that normally by November there will be a decision to not re-update the ISO 13485, and she bet that she will pay a drink to everyone if that. So if there is a change or if there is an update of ISO 13485, so contact Corinne Delorme from Nexialist. She will have to pay you a drink. There was also a discussion about MDSAP, and mainly the two discussions were the cost of MDSAP. The cost means also the investment and also the auditing organization. You have to choose the right one for doing that. But after that, we had also the panel discussion with people talking about MDSAP. We had Anthony Joseph from AZMed. We had Laurent Soulier from Dixie Medical, Franck Pelletier from Cousin Surgery, Michel Grec from GMED, and Johan Buisson from BSI. And mainly, the point was that some of them choose, some of them, because GMED and BSI are more here as audit organization. So some manufacturers choose to go to MDSAP because of Canada, because as you may know, Canada made it mandatory for them to be MDSAP certified if you want to sell your products in Canada. So then they were somehow obliged to do that. But there was a question that was interesting. If it was not mandatory for Canada, would you have done it? I'm not sure, because the answer was yes, they would have done it. But the question was more like, for me, the answer was more, yes, they would have done it because now they know about it. But if, I'm not sure, if they have no clue about MDSAP or really no clue about the benefit of it, I'm not sure they would have done it. But now that they know the benefit, and mainly the benefit that they mention is that MDSAP is really structuring your quality management system in a way that it is also beneficial for you if you go to even other countries than, so it's USA, Canada, Brazil, Australia, and Japan. So mainly if you are MDSAP certified, it can also structure your company, structure your audits, structure everything, which was good because there was also some feedback about the investment in terms of resources, also the preparation of the audit, because they said the audit is really like timed, if I can say. Like there is a sequence of audit. You cannot just move to another sequence. You have to finish a sequence before to move to the next, and it's timed, and it's really structured. It's like everybody has the same way to do it, so it means that it's fair between each manufacturers. So it was really that. And the notified bodies, mainly they talked about the fact that as an auditing organization, how they are organizing or doing that. And there was some feedback on the main non-conformities that were discovered within MDSAP. And the first one, as always, since I started my career in medical devices, it's the same. So it's kappa. So guys, please modify. You have to maybe listen to George Nigel from in LinkedIn, because he's talking a lot about kappa. So maybe go with him. The second one is internal audit. And the third one is document control. I saw also later it was general documentation, it was purchasing thing, etc. And again, I put the picture also in my LinkedIn. So go to my LinkedIn and then find the picture. Or you can put just the hashtag la rentrée du DM. I will write it maybe on the things so that you can find all the pictures. Next, we had a discussion with the three additional presentations with Aude Béviard from Eurofins, medical device testing, biocompatibility. And she talked mainly about ISO, so biocompatibility, so 10993 dash, multiple dashes. There was like a problem talking about the new update of ISO 10993-1 because it's still in draft. It's maybe will come out soon, but we don't know what is inside. But there was a lot of question about that from the audience, and Aude didn't really want to answer those questions because it's a draft. We don't know what will happen, so I will not bet on this also. But there was also some technical questions. So there was a toxicology person there asking technical questions, and they were like, oh, how will she answer to that? And also questions about pyrogenicity, all those things. So it was too technical for me. I understand biocompatibility, but here it was a bit too technical for me. Next, we had Sylvia Pelayo, which is a professor at the Lille University. So Lille is a French city in the north. So she talked mainly about usability. And here we had a great presentation talking about experience, real experience on usability, what is usability, and also the difference between Europe and US. We had some discussion during the presentation about the fact that, the number, the US are really higher in terms of requirements than Europe for that. They find that expert, because we had also somebody that worked with her on some project. They had experience with the US asking too much detail or questions, and also but having experts for that. So it's not like they are just having some people that randomly know about that. No, they are expert on that. But also in terms of number of people needed for their studies, and apparently they are asking a lot of people, which increased dramatically or hugely the cost of this study. And so this is mainly something that was great, showing also that in Europe the expertise is not so high, so you can pass a bit more with usability, and it's all. But as I've said, these are really interesting discussions because we had some feedback of how it went for them and how it worked. And the last one, as I said, they had other presentation, but I had to leave before. The last one is Christelle Bai from Spotlight Medical on cybersecurity. It was a great presentation. She was really making it with some comedy, some humor. But when you hear this presentation, you feel the pain because the company is doing some IVD, if I understood correctly, software. And she had to learn about cybersecurity because at the beginning they said cybersecurity and nobody wanted to take this topic. So she had to learn and work with the technical team about that. So yeah, she had really a great knowledge, even if she said that she's a baby cybersecurity person. But she had good knowledge and also presented to us some information about, real information about how some countries are now maybe refusing your devices or your software because you don't follow some country-specific requirements. So be careful, there are some country-specific requirements. Spain, if I remember, I have to open maybe the thing, but Spain, if I remember, France, let me open quickly if I find her presentation quickly. Spain, Germany, France, and then other countries. So she said that there are some countries that are really having some specific requirements, so you cannot just go with a general cybersecurity thing. No, you have to follow their requirements, so you have then first to learn about their requirements. And then she talks about the cost also, how much it costs all that. I will not give you numbers, but cost and the time to implement, and the cost also of consultants, the cost of auditors that are coming to audit you, the fact that you have to be audited every year or so about that, etc., etc. And also the fact about the standard 27001. It's not mandatory, but she said that some hospitals will refuse your products if you are in competition with another company. If they are 27001 and you are not, so they will refuse your product. So this was also some discussion. But she mentioned also about US and Europe, mentioning also if you are qualified for US in cybersecurity, then it's easy for you to be qualified for Europe. Because she talked also about the formula for registration in the US, the E-Star. And she said that as soon as you are filling the information that you are a software, then suddenly a big block appears on the E-Star, because if you know E-Star, as soon as you fill it, then some blocks are appearing, some more information are appearing, even if it's a PDF. And then a big block is appearing about cybersecurity. She said it's a big block, so a lot of work to do, but it's really well guided with some guidelines, with some information of what exactly they are looking for. So it's why she said it's a lot of work, but it's well guided. So it was also some good learning. So I said I stop here because mainly this is what I got from it. So as I said, I tried just to explain to you some highlights of what happened there. All was in French, so if you are a French speaker, really I advise you to go every year to La Rentrée du DM. So it's every year in October. I think the next one will be 6 or 7 of October. So you can already start now. If you want also to have a booth there, they have also a booth, but as I said, it's small, so if you want to booth, book it already now. What is also great is that you had a mix of service providers, manufacturers, notified bodies, competent authorities, discussion and review, and it was really a great thing. So if you have any questions also about mainly some topics I discussed, so don't hesitate, send me an email at info@easymedicaldevice.com, and I will be happy to share with you maybe more detail or give you some tips about what we learned there. If you have also any other topics that you want me to cover within the podcast, let me know. I was thinking of inviting maybe some of those people that were in those presentations to share with you mainly what we had during the presentation. So I will try to see if some of them will be interested, and then have them coming to the podcast and making an episode with them. Okay, so it was really great to have this episode with you. I hope you liked it, these things, because sometimes I go to some conference, so maybe I can redo that for the next one, which is AFRI Summit in Cairo. So yeah, if you liked it, let me know, and then only I can redo that again. Okay, then I wish you a nice day, and have a good day, and I wish you a nice day.